following message is a public service announcement brought to you by your friends at Degeneration X.
I am an idiot.
Hey YouTubers, Degeneration HanX here, and of course, if you've noticed, this is the first rant of 2014. I'm sorry I'm a little late in doing so, but hopefully this will make up for about a month or so for not me really doing much. And hopefully also this is going to be one that pisses a lot of people off. And this is something that is, I just came to my attention today involving Sunday's presentation of the 50th anniversary of the Beatles coming to America. This is when the generation at that time went totally apeshit. About four guys wearing nice suits and shaggy hair came upon us from England and sang their little songs, and they became a worldwide phenomenon. Well, I'm not really totally going to complain about it. Well, basically the point about it is that they had a big star-studded honoring of the show with the two surviving members, Ringo Starr and Paul McCartney, and they had multiple celebrities, singers come up and sing a song, sing, their renditions of the Beatles hits. And one of the performers was Katy Perry. So, yep. Once again, she's gotten herself in trouble. It's been a while since her little incident with Elmo and Sesame Street. But now she's pissed off the Beatles fans. Oh, God. And how'd she do that? Well, she sung a song called Yesterday. And what happened during the performance is that she altered the lyrics to fit her gender. And, and this pissed off a lot of people because she changed the lyrics. And I'm sitting here going, I don't know if you've noticed, but Katy Perry is a woman. She does obviously show that. I mean, this is not like Ellen DeGeneres or anything like that. This is Katy Perry with big boobs, and regardless if she sang a song about kissing a girl, that was going to cause a problem. They should have got a fucking guy to perform it. They should have just had a whole bunch of men performing these songs. I mean, I wonder what anybody said about the Eurythmics performing it with one half of the band group, the duo, being a woman. Or, all because Katy Perry altered the song just to fit her specific gender. I don't see anything wrong about that. The only thing that I see wrong about it is that honoring this stupid situation in the first place. I don't see anything special about the Beatles, outside of them being a reflection of the generation that liked them when they are actually a band. The Beatles broke up by what, 1969, 1970, something like that. It was like, 2 or 3 years before I was even fucking born. I'm 41 years old. And I'm surprised that there are people younger than me into the Beatles and into these, I'm sorry. I have a niece. I don't know if she still is into him, but she went, last time I saw her, which was, probably like 11, 14 years ago, something like that, she was heavily into Paul McCartney. Now, this is a girl whose mother, my half-sister, would have been the right age to be into the Beatles. She was a teenager / a young adult when the Beatles were actually around. Not her daughter, who just became an adult. She's supposed to have been into, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and stuff. I'm talking about, this was the late 90s, early millennia, when she was into some geezer who, basically he was a geezer back then, whose last significant contribution to music was when he was dumb enough to let Michael Jackson steal all the Beatles music out from under him back in the 1980s, and that was about, 30 years ago? And, I mean, what does Paul McCartney, what has Paul McCartney really contributed in the music industry lately? Outside of, dating and marrying women, 40 years younger than him? I mean, all I gotta say, the Beatles didn't really do anything significant. All they did was basically reflected the generation, the baby boomers, what they did. They were young men at the time were starting to kind of grow their hair shaggy and longer, and Beatles started doing it. They were just reflecting what, they weren't really, movers and shakers. They were just a bunch of guys that the girls liked too much, and they were, of course, foreign British guys, so, I think there was a lot more, significant singers in the 1960s that did a lot more for the industry. I mean, sheesh, if the Beatles were so big, why were they not, they weren't even in Woodstock. One of the biggest concert extravaganzas of all music history, and where were the Beatles? They were, hanging around some phony guru, and letting their wives ruin the band. Oh, that's another significance. The Beatles basically were probably one of the first pussy whip bands before even Van Halen, letting their wives have a say-so in their band. Yoko Ono and Paul McCartney's first wife. And I mean, their music's okay, but I mean, their significance kind of ended when the band broke up, and that wasn't much of a significance because they weren't like movers and shakers. They were just a bunch of guys that reflected basically, when their generation became hippies, they became hippies, so they could still stay significant. It's not like they, oh, the Beatles influenced me. That was basically, the point of this stupid little tribute concerts. Have a bunch of performers that claim that they had influence from the Beatles, which in all intents and purposes, probably even their parents were probably not even old enough to actually understand their music.